All right, get ready because this deep dive is taking us somewhere pretty familiar to, I think, a lot of our listeners. We're going to Bikini Bottom, but we're not here for just the fun and games. Today, it's getting a little bit strange, I guess you could say. We're going to be talking about SpongeBob SquarePants conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that's right. It might seem like, pure childhood nostalgia, but, some people see a lot deeper meaning, sometimes kind of dark underneath the surface.
I mean, it's pretty wild, right? To think that a show that's about a talking sponge that works at a fast food restaurant could really spark this much debate.
Exactly. And, that's what we're here to do. We're not really here to debunk these or endorse them, but we want to kind of understand why they exist in the first place. What could they maybe tell us about, our culture or ourselves?
Okay, so let's get into it. One of the biggest SpongeBob conspiracy theories that's out there is that the creators intentionally put these hidden agendas all over the show.
And, you see this a lot with Mr. Krabs, for example. He's so incredibly greedy and always trying to exploit his employees. He's underpaying SpongeBob and Squidward. He's just a prime target for this type of analysis.
He really is. It's like he's obsessed with money. Like a cartoon Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
And that makes some people wonder, is Mr. Krabs' satire of unchecked capitalism?
It's an interesting question because it really does tap into some anxieties we have about, corporate greed. How much influence does money have in our society? Does the Krusty Krab kind of remind you of any real life companies or business practices that you've seen?
Now that you mentioned, I can see some parallels there for sure to how businesses might prioritize profit over your employees' well-being.
Right. And then you've got Plankton, who's always scheming. He's trying to get that secret formula, the Krabby Patty formula. And a lot of people see him as kind of representing the people who are excluded from power, those who are always fighting against the system.
Yeah, Plankton, with his endless struggle against Mr. Krabs, it really makes you wonder, is he a sympathetic figure or just like a comedic villain?
What's so interesting is how these interpretations, they really reflect our own personal beliefs and experiences. Do you see Plankton as a symbol of this rebellion against big corporations, or just a nuisance, a bumbling nuisance?
I've honestly never thought about it that way before, but it makes a lot of sense that our own perspectives and our own experiences could influence how we look at these characters. We're projecting our own worries about power and social structures onto this show.
Exactly. And this kind of leads us to another, maybe a deeper level of this SpongeBob conspiracy, and it's that the show isn't just pushing agendas, it's actually trying to manipulate young minds.
Yeah, this is where things get a little bit darker. The amount of slapstick violence in SpongeBob is pretty hard to ignore. I mean, those characters get flattened, they get launched into space, they go through all kinds of mayhem, and they always just come back smiling.
It does make you ask, right? Is it all just fun, or could it be making kids less sensitive to violence in the real world? Kind of desensitizing them.
Honestly, I never even thought about it as a kid. It was just part of the humor. But now that I'm older, I can see how some people would be a little bit concerned about that.
Yeah. It's a debate that's been going on for a long time, this idea of media violence and how it affects kids. Some people say, even cartoon violence could make kids more aggressive or less empathetic. Others say it's totally harmless, just entertainment.
And it's not even just the violence. It's that the characters are so bizarre. They don't act logically a lot of the time. They break social norms. It's just kind of strange. Remember that episode where Plankton tries to use subliminal messages to hypnotize everyone at the Krabby Patty ad?
Yeah. That episode, it really captures, I think, this fear that some people have of being controlled by media without even realizing it. It's tied into those anxieties about how media shapes kids' values and their behavior.
It's almost like the show's purposely trying to mess with how we think characters should act, even in a cartoon. Do you think that was on purpose, or are we just reading too much into it as adults?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, right? It's hard to say for sure what the creators were thinking. Maybe they were just going for absurdity, or maybe there's something more there, like a deeper commentary about society hidden in all the silliness.
So are we just overthinking a simple cartoon?
That is the million-dollar question. But before we jump to any conclusions, let's dive even deeper. There's this whole other layer to this SpongeBob conspiracy. The hidden symbols that people see throughout the show. Get ready, it's about to get even weirder.
Okay, so I'm down the rabbit hole now. We've got hidden agendas, we've got mind control, and now we're going to talk about symbolism. This is getting pretty intense.
It really is. But remember, we're really looking at why people believe these things, not necessarily, trying to prove them. And this idea that we're always trying to find these deeper meanings, even in like a silly cartoon, says a lot about us, about our culture.
So what kind of symbols are we even talking about here? Like, give me the detail.
Okay, well, think about the Krabby Patty formula. It's this big secret, right? The audience never actually sees what's in it, but everyone wants it. From plankton to, even just random customers who come in sometimes.
It really is like the holy grail of fast food.
Mm.
So could it be like something more than just a recipe?
Some people think so, yeah. This idea that it's so secret, it becomes kind of like a symbol for information control itself. And, Plankton, he keeps failing over and over, but he never gives up. It's almost like a metaphor for how hard it is to get information when there are people who are, controlling it, these gatekeepers.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So it's like this battle for information, but it's playing out in this, crazy fast food world.
Exactly. And it all connects to this bigger anxiety that we all have about censorship and this struggle to make things, more transparent, especially nowadays when information is so important.
Okay, so it's not just the Krabby Patty formula.
Yeah.
Right? I've also heard people analyze the names of the characters and say there are secret meanings there too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. SpongeBob, he's so absorbent. He just soaks everything up around him. And Squidward, he's a squid, literally, and he's all cynical and negative. And then there's Patrick. He's not the smartest starfish, and he's kind of like a representation of those people who just don't think critically about anything.
I always just thought those names were kind of funny and weird, but now I'm seeing them in a whole new way.
It's really interesting how our brains are always looking for these patterns, We want to find meaning in everything, even if it's not really there. And sometimes it takes us down the wrong path, but it also shows how much we want to understand the world.
But isn't all this, kind of a stretch? It's just a kid's show with SpongeBob.
Well, yeah, you've got a point there. Some people say that reading all this stuff into SpongeBob is just ridiculous. They say it's satire, it's absurd, it's just supposed to be funny.
I mean, the guy who created it, Stephen Hillenburg, he was a marine biologist.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was just trying to share his love for the ocean, and he did it by creating these wacky characters.
Exactly. We can't forget that artists have the right to be creative. They don't have to always be trying to teach us a lesson or send us a message.
So how do we find the right balance then? How do we enjoy the show and its humor, but also think about all this deeper stuff? It's like, I don't know, it's messing with my childhood memories.
You've touched on something really important there. Nostalgia. SpongeBob has been around for like 20 years. For a lot of people, it's a huge part of their childhood. These conspiracy theories aren't just about a cartoon. They're messing with our memories, our feelings about this thing that we loved.
It's almost like someone's telling me my childhood was based on a lie.
I get it. It's a strong reaction, but I understand where you're coming from. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. We want to protect the things we loved when we were kids. And when someone criticizes those things, it can feel like a personal attack.
So what are we supposed to do with all these conflicting feelings? Like, part of me just wants to enjoy the show like I used to, but now I can't help thinking about all this stuff we've been talking about.
It is tough. But honestly, I think it's okay to feel both ways. You can still enjoy the simple humor of SpongeBob and also think about those deeper meanings. That's kind of the beauty of art, right? It can mean different things to different people.
That makes sense.
Huh.
There's no one right way to see SpongeBob. It depends on you, on your experiences.
Exactly. But there's another piece to this whole conspiracy thing that we haven't really talked about yet. Our own psychology. Why do we love these conspiracy theories so much? Why are we always looking for hidden meanings, even in a show about a talking sponge?
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. Why are we so fascinated by conspiracies?
Well, we're back, and I think we're ready to kind of wrap things up here. Our deep dive into, SpongeBob conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's been a long trip down to Bikini Bottom, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All the way from hidden agendas and mind control, all the way to symbolism. We've been through a lot.
Yeah, we really have. And I gotta say, my view of this show from my childhood has definitely changed. It's pretty amazing how these theories really bring out all these worries we have, about society, about media, and even our own memories.
It's true. It seems like we as humans are always searching for those patterns and meanings. Even when they're not really there, we try to find them. It's like we need an explanation for everything that's going on in the world, even if it means finding something kind of bad hiding in a cartoon that's supposed to be for kids.
But at the end of the day, sometimes a Krabby Patty's just a Krabby Patty, right? Oh, absolutely. And that's a really important thing to remember. Yeah, it's been fun to look at these theories, think about the darker side of things, but we can't forget what makes SpongeBob so great. The humor, the heart, and just how crazy it is.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, when you really get down to it, SpongeBob is all about being friends, being positive,
Yeah.
and using your imagination. Those are things that we connect with on a really deep level, whether we believe in all these conspiracy theories or not.
Exactly. We can totally appreciate those deeper meanings without forgetting about all the simple fun stuff too. It's all about, finding that balance between thinking critically and just enjoying the show.
So before we finish up this deep dive, I want to ask our listeners something. What do you love about SpongeBob? What are the parts that make you laugh? What memories come up when you think about it?
Sometimes it's okay to just enjoy things the way they are. Don't overthink everything. Let yourself laugh at the silly stuff, the crazy adventures, all that fun that SpongeBob gives us.
Maybe there are hidden messages, maybe there aren't. But the real magic of SpongeBob is that it takes us back to a time when we could just laugh and imagine anything we wanted.
So just embrace the craziness, enjoy the memories, and remember that even in the simplest cartoons, there might be something more than we see at first glance.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We got to explore the surprisingly complex world of SpongeBob conspiracy theories. Until next time, keep on exploring, keep asking those questions, and always keep an open mind. Who knows what other hidden things we'll find together, right?